press conference for the Leagues Cup match between Real Salt Lake and that. With us here is Pablo Mastroeni, head coach of Real Salt Lake. First question here, please.
We got to start with that Nelson goal. Pretty incredible. Wins the game for you guys. Have you seen him take that shot before? And I guess what does that kind of say about what he's been able to prove this season?
Yeah, no, I think in the last probably 6 weeks, Nelson's really turned it up, both in training and in games. I think against LAFC he had a fantastic game, and he's coming into form at a great time. And he does shoot from distance, but that I haven't seen, and that's how those usually work when you hit it from 36 or 40 or whatever it is. You just got to get good contact and keep it under the bar. And just super happy for him. Because it just validates all the hard work that he's doing. And, I feel like we have a really strong midfield core, and he's stepping up his game.
There was clearly some frustration from both sides in this game, both with officiating, with the field in general. With a competition like this where there's only 2 games in match play, things are pretty tight, condensed. I guess what was it like out there, just kind of being in there and trying to manage the emotions?
Yeah, it was definitely cagey. Again, not all MLS rules apply in Leagues Cup, and I think that's the difficult part for us to just kind of understand. But again, I think these competitions are great in that there's different ways of playing the game. I think Atlas are a really good team, and they found ways to kind of kill the game and suck out the intensity of it at the end of the first half. And so we wanted to be more aggressive in our pressing in the second half, and I thought the guys did a great job of that in winning the balls and in dangerous areas. But it was a cagey affair, and I think that's what we can expect for every game moving forward.
I probably don't need to remind you that the start of the game wasn't great. I heard some yelling. I'm not sure if it was you, but I can imagine some of the words that were being used were part of it. But it felt like Anderson's goal really gave you guys kind of capped a run of really strong stuff through halftime, I guess. Can you kind of walk us through sort of that moment and how momentum just sort of changed from the first 30 minutes or so, where it felt like Atlas kind of commanded a lot?
Yeah. Well, again, I think in these games, the opportunities are going to be few and far between, and I felt like we created some good opportunities. I know Andres. There's one where he breaks the corner and had Luna essentially, and went at it alone. And there's a couple other plays where I think, again, when I talk about playing as a team, those are the moments. But I think Anderson, and again, Andres puts in a wonderful cross. Ando's playing between the center backs, and I think that moment, the momentum shifts because there's belief again. I think that they did a really good job of taking the emotion out of the game, stalling a little bit, taking extra long on goal kicks, and those are gamesmanship that you really encounter when you play international competitions. So we got to learn from that. But it was definitely it was good momentum coming in the locker room where we can fix some of the tactics. I think what they do, which is interesting, is they go man to man and let Jake Glad have the ball, and so making sure our pivots were playing off into the half spaces, our 10's more narrow, so that we can penetrate centrally. And they did a really good job of executing that, and created some really good opportunities in the second half. But again, I think the mentality was different in the second half as well. There's again, that goal coming into the halftime really instilled some belief into the group, and with the quality, the execution, and getting that second goal really changed the game for us.
What did you think of Gavin Beaver's performance?
Yeah, I think he had a good game. He had some big saves in the first half that kept us in it, and I think it's going to be a journey for Gav. Especially when you're playing against these kind of teams. One of the things that I'm challenging him with is being more vocal, right? And I think that's the quickest way to gain leadership and the connectivity between the back line and himself. But I thought all in all he had a good performance. But I think with Gav, it's really one game at a time, and making sure we do a better job of not putting him in tough situations, especially against these type of opponents.
What did you think of the way your team pulled off the
I loved it. I think you got to be brave in those moments, and it's something that we've talked about over the course of the first part of the season, where we should always have options to play. And then again, we talk about our actions should always be there for the player on the ball, and the player on the ball has the decision to make, because sometimes he's got space, sometimes he doesn't. But I thought that showed a lot of bravery, a lot of courage, and to kill a game off in that fashion, I think shows a lot of growth from our group from the first game this year to where we are today.
What will it mean to get Chicho back?
Yeah, I think getting Chicho back in this moment is really important for the group. A lot like when we got Chicho last year, in the way his energy and his presence was infectious. He's been away training really hard away from the game, and I think just having him back in the building it's like having your big brother with you. I think you feel more confident. There's more belief when you have a player of his magnitude, and so it's about now integrating him back in a way that he doesn't hurt himself, but he brings that persona to our group.
Part of the suspension.
Could not.
Can you just give us a little scattered from the Dynamo about this?
Yeah, we play in a similar fashion. A lot of what they do in the build and higher up the field go through Herrera, and I never remember his name. You know the other pivot? No. Anyway, they go through their two pivots are really good conductors of the game, a lot like Emeka Nelson and Ojeda when we're on top of games, and so they like to play. They like to play. They send an outside back forward just like we do. So it's almost like playing a carbon copy of yourself, and we know how difficult it is to get the ball off guys in the back, and that's why in the second half, just emphasize the pressing from the front will be critical and making them uncomfortable. But they're a great team, and it's not going to be an easy feat. But I feel like if we perform as we did in the second half today, it's going to be a great match.
Pablo, ya se anunció ayer que Jevin Brown va a ser parte del equipo. Ya han tenido varios jugadores que se están uniendo al equipo. ¿Usted siente que a lo mejor se ocupa una posición para un revulsivo más para poder enfrentar la segunda parte de la temporada?
Sí, yo creo que Javain y Lachlan y Benji son importantes jugadores, porque hasta este momento, especialmente en la parte ofensiva, no hemos tenido muchas lesiones y necesitamos estar seguros de ese tema. Y yo creo que también eso crea mucha competición dentro del grupo, y a veces cuando uno sabe que va a jugar todos los partidos, se afloja un poco, no está tan enchufado. Y ahora con jugadores que hemos traído al club, yo creo que los entrenamientos van a ser más competitivos, y eso es muy importante para llegar al final del campeonato con un equipo bien sólido, y también la forma que jugamos necesitamos agresividad, y teniendo opciones en el banco y también de salir titular son importantes para el grupo.
We have one last question via Zoom. Judas, you listen.
Hola Pablo, MLS en español aquí. Una pregunta. ¿Cómo es que tu equipo tiene tantos jugadores capaces de marcar goles tan buenos, tan espectaculares? ¿Cómo se hace eso?
Se compra. No, mira, este año el Luna, el Andrés, el Chicho y ahora el Nelson han metido goles fantásticos. Te digo la verdad, la esperanza no fue que este año los chicos salieron a jugar y marcar goles como están marcando. Y yo creo que teniendo confianza en la táctica, pero también sabiendo que individualmente tienen que crear jugadas y tomar el riesgo. Y hoy día el Nelson, ese tiro al arco de 40 metros fue una cosa que no entrenamos, pero en ese momento decidió tirarlo al arco. Y esa es una cosa que venimos hablando, que necesitamos tirar más al arco. Y estoy, estoy muy contento para Nelson porque viene jugando bastante bien y yo creo que un gol así le da mucha confianza al jugador.
Pablo, Mastroeni, coach of Salt Lake.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.